than be a starter on a younger team. That year I was told I'd never be a starter, I didn't deserve to wear the number 23, and I was only there to relieve the starters for a little bit of breathing time. I stuck it out because those girls became my best friends, and still are, and I also knew I was getting better playing for a talented coach and practicing against great athletes. 3 years later, I walked into Bennett and the ESCC as a freshman on varsity. From the beginning, I tried hard to be coachable, a good teammate, and push myself every day. Competitiveness, class, leadership, and balance were the best lessons that I took from my experience playing in the ESCC. We learned competitiveness. I was never a gym rat. I never bought one of those t-shirts that said, "Basketball is life." But at Bennett, I began to develop a true passion for both sports. The supportive atmosphere was contagious. As we ran onto the court to Eye of the Tiger, which, a little bit of trivia, a Bennett alumni wrote the song, the student section was always packed, always in a themed garb, either toga night or nerd night, and always got into it with us. In those ESCC gyms, we competed against some of the best athletes, not just in the state, but turns out in the country. I saw some of those same faces in college, and some of them have gone on to play in the WNBA and overseas on some of the best clubs. We learned class. Our basketball coach, Mr. Paul, emphasized that being on varsity wasn't just about being a good basketball player. He put us up on his pedestal, as he would explain, and he expected us to be good sportsmen and to surround ourselves with the right people off the court as well. If you ignored the scoreboard and only looked at Mr. Paul's face following a game, you could never know whether we won or lost. Not only was he composed, but he made sure that we never ran out to the center of the court to celebrate first, and we also never stormed off the court after a loss. We always went to the other team and shook their hands and congratulated them on a good competition. If we were called for a technical foul, not that I ever was, because we let an opponent get into our heads, we ran suicides in practice the next day. He taught us solid sportsmanship. Mr. Goforth tried to instill the same values on our parents in the stands. I think my dad had been kicked out a time or two, just to set an example for the others. And he even earned our team a yellow card in volleyball, so thanks, Dad. We learned leadership. My freshman year on varsity, I was blessed with the incredible mentor, Vanessa LaShawn, who was a senior and just happened to be the captain on both the basketball and volleyball teams. She truly was and still is the best example of a leader. Leading by example set the best tone for my teammates, which always forced me to reflect on my actions on and off the court. At Bennett, I was surrounded by great people who constantly challenged me to be the best athlete and person I could be. We learned balance. Basketball is what kept me loving volleyball, and volleyball is what kept me loving basketball. But besides just balancing sports, playing in the ESCC taught me time management between school, sports, and social life, of course. The academic challenge that Bennett gave us made college actually pretty easy. But most importantly, playing in the ESCC taught me balance of God, family, and school and sports. The ESCC then came along with me to the University of Wisconsin as I played basketball against Purdue, Northwestern, Minnesota, and Iowa, and shared the court with Fenwick and Marian Catholic girls all over again. Since playing college basketball was pretty much a full-time job, that's where Bennett's tough academics and time management skills pushed me through. As my well-loved coach was fired after my freshman year, there was a lot of trials and tribulations that came along with the successes, and my love for basketball was tested constantly and even lost at times. But luckily, the day after my senior year, my last game in college, I went to the rec center and started scrimmaging against just some male student athletes, and my love returned little and little every day for the game. Long story short, an agent contacted me, and I was blessed to have the opportunity to go over to Spain, and was told that I really didn't know that I would be the only American over there. Nobody would speak English. I played for a coach named Josema, who also did not speak English. So if any of you have ever seen the movie Love and Basketball, it was like that for about 6 months, and then another season after that. So picked up the language and Went through a Cinderella season our second year to go on and move the team up in divisions. So it was a very rewarding and experience, and then went on to play in Austria and Luxembourg, and finally hung up my jersey a couple years ago. So now I'm continuing to play in leagues, just having fun, enjoying the sport, and coaching both male and female athletes who are looking to either just gain a little bit of playing time, to make their teams, or to even aspire to playing in college. I want to thank you first to my brother, who made it possible for me to compete in the ESCC, and I promise I wrote this before tonight, who was smart enough to get into Bennett, so thanks for making it easy for me to get in and allowing me to have the experience to be a legacy and come to Bennett and supporting me in my games. Thank you to my parents, who encouraged me to try any and every sport, maybe too many at the beginning, but driving me to all those sports, changing into one uniform after the next in the back of the minivan, and never missing a game, even if it was Penn State or Hawaii. You were there for all of them, and even traveling overseas to support me, even on the drop of a hat. So my grandma and grandpa, thank you for traveling to all my important games, all my events. It's really important to have you there supporting me, and I appreciate you coming out to every and any major event, even though you always thought that for some reason you were bad luck at some of my games. That was just my fault. I want to thank my godmother and my Auntie Joni for especially aiding in our wins against St. Fighter by distracting Bill Merman before, after, and during the games by making faces and always being supportive of me in every single sport that I've played. I would like to thank my best friend and life mentor, Vanessa LaShawn, for setting the right example for me. I still aspire to be half the leader she is, to any player that I coach, and to anybody that I am in contact with in life in general. To my boyfriend Igor, who I met in my third year in Austria. He's still playing overseas for the same team that he played for when we met. He's kept me motivated and supported me in the off season and overseas, and aspired me to be a youth coach and kept basketball fun for me. I want to thank Mr. Paul for giving me the chance, despite past traditions, to be a freshman on varsity, attending all of my recruiting functions, encouraging me to be the best person I could be throughout high school, and supporting me afterwards, and most important, truly caring about each of your players, and wanting the best for them in life. Mr. Goforth, it was great to have you as our athletic director, and you took such a strong interest in female sports. I can't remember a game that you didn't attend, and thank you for making it possible for me to be here today. So thank you for the nomination and election. And this is unexpected, Hall of Fame selection. I'm honored to be amongst everybody that's being honored today. And it's an illustrious group, and I'm happy to be the only female, and thank you very much.
I'd like to introduce Athletic Director Andy Bitto, who will introduce Carmel Catholics new inductees.